Guys, so let's get started with our disassembly. First things first, we're gonna take our trim panel tool. We're gonna lift here, and with your trim panel tool, you want to start to pry these up. Now, prying these up is a little bit nerve-wracking because it's your vehicle. You don't want to break anything, and this is a customer's vehicle. We don't want to break their anything in their vehicle and explain to them, hey, this panel broke. So you want to proceed with caution, use consistent force, but don't use aggressive force. And what I mean by that is we're going to start here in this corner, going to sneak up behind the parking brake. Now behind the parking brake, there's a clip. That clip's going to rise up and now get you started. Then you can continue down the line. See, there goes some. Then the rest you can really do with your hands. If you're careful enough, you can just kind of pull on the clips where you feel them. So like here, it's really rough. So I'm gonna use my trim panel removal tool because I can't get my finger all the way in there to lift up, because you don't, basically how these break is when you apply pressure away from the actual tab, the tab stays in, but then the panel tends to break away. So you always want to apply your pressure right at the tab. So I know there's a tab here. I want to lift it out. There you go. And same here. Now here's always a tricky part because it's hard to get your trim panel tool underneath, but you want to try your best to get the tool under there. Come on. There we go. All right, guys, so it looks like we haven't lost any clips. So something you want to be wary of is when you're pulling, these clips will come out if you're not careful. And that's why I say to bring the magnetic pickup tool, because if any of these clips fall, you can grab them where they fell. But all right, guys, so we got our first trim panel piece on. Let's celebrate. That's a hard one to do. Now we're gonna grab our other trim panel piece, and this one, in the same way they got started behind the parking brake. All right, guys, so you're gonna get started in this corner, gonna lift up, it's gonna come up some, and we're gonna continue again with our hands like before until we can't any longer. All right, see, there's a lot of force. So there, I want to use my tool again, sneak my tool behind the radio, and pry up. There we go. Now, the last piece is always the trickiest piece, which is the top part, because you don't want to break anything. So we're gonna get behind it. There we go. And see there, we lost a clip. So bam, bam, bam. They're all there, except this one. And this one, actually, I heard it when it came off, it's still in there. So there we go, we got it back. And this is exactly why you want this tool, guys, because you don't want to be without one of these and not have a panel snap back into place correctly. All right, and that's gonna go right there. All right, guys, now that we got all that stuff out, we're gonna continue with our disassembly, and now we're gonna look at screws. So this screw, this screw, this screw, and this screw are gonna come out. Then this screw and this screw are gonna come out. Then these screws are gonna come out, but we'll go in steps. The first step is to get these screws that are underneath this, two screws down here. You want to take those two screws out. I hope you can see this. You have two screws there that you wanna get started with, and then you wanna undo this screw, and then these four screws, and allow you to scoot this back. So let me show you what that's gonna look like. All right, once you got those started, you can actually twist them with your hands most of the way out, and then they're just gonna come right out, just like that. So once those are out, we're gonna focus on these. All right, guys, so you wanna be careful where you put these screws. You don't want to lose any of them. So what I actually like to do is put them all in a central place, and that is always right here. So I like to put them up on the dash, because I know they're not going to go anywhere. I'm not moving the car's not going anywhere. And then we're going to get a disc screw. So again, these two screws right here. The other ones you can leave alone. And then this screw right here. Alright, guys, now that we got those screws out, our next step is to scoot this guy back. So you want to lift back here with your fingers, right where the carpet meets. You want to scoot your fingers in there. You'll be able to get them under there because the screws are out, and you want to just scoot back just like that. Now that you scooted that back, you now have the room that you need to unplug these, because this panel has to come out. So the way we're going to do that is we're going to unplug these connectors here. So you have this blue plug and this gray plug here. And the way these plug in is they have a little tab here. So you just want to push down on that tab and pull out. Now to get this panel off, it's going to have these side panels clipped onto it. So you can take these side panels off, but it's not necessary to do so. I'll show you a trick on how you can get around not taking those panels off. But to get started to remove this piece, we need to first take off our shift knob. So if yours is a manual, you want to twist this so you can get it down. There you go. So there's a locking mechanism in here you want to twist so you can get it off, and then this is just going to twist out. So you're just going to unscrew this. All right guys, now that we've unscrewed that, we want to put this in a safe place as well, so we're putting that on the dash. And now you want to undo these screws right here, so this one and that one. So there goes one. And here goes the other. So after those are out, you want to undo these. So these are holding this trim panel piece on. All right guys, so next we want to take these two screws out, the top ones, not the bottom ones. They're a brown screw. All right, so we're gonna take those out. And it actually looks like one of these panels has been removed before. All right guys, so now I'm gonna show you something that I want you to be real careful of. So the radio on the sides here, these panels have a little nub right here. And once you're doing this, you'll see what I'm talking about. This little nub, you don't want to break. It holds the panel into place. On that side, it's actually already broken, so I can tell this panel has been off before. The screw wasn't even as tight as it's supposed to be either. So what you want to do is scoot your seats back, both seats, as far as they'll go back. So in this case, we're as far as we can be. And now we want to pry here, and on the other side the same. And that'll free this panel. I'll show you what that looks like in a sec. So here's that pry, and then you want to pry that guy up too, and you'll see we came up, when we pried, we came up and over that little bump that was there, and that's how you want to do it. You don't want to drag that bump out because you'll break it, and this should be enough to help us get this unit out. So next we're going to do this. Now we're going to pry on this side as well, guys. You see that clip come out, and then here's the clip up there. And now, that should be enough to get this guy out. So what's holding it in now is it's clipped onto here. So we just want to undo those clips with a little bit of pull. There we go. And here comes the middle piece. When you're taking this out, your cigarette lighter will be in the way. So to unplug your cigarette lighter, you just press down the tab here on the side. So you're gonna reach around, press that tab down, and you'll be able to pull it out. All right guys, so we're almost there. The next part is the actual radio and the trim panel at the top. The way we're gonna get this trim piece out is we're gonna take our pry tool and we're gonna pry at the top. I mean at the bottom side. So you're gonna come in here. Always tricky. So see, there we go. Started prying at the bottom, and it's gonna come up over the top. Then you should be able to just unplug that guy and flip this like so out of your way. All right guys, so now we're almost there. We just got to take the 4 screws that hold the radio, and those 4 screws are located here, here, and then one here and one there. So gonna grab those 4 out, and then this thing's coming out. And here you want to be real careful guys, because it's real easy to lose one of these screws. See, there goes one right there, just as I said it. So where's our, and this is where the metal pickup tool saves your butt. And there we go, we're able to get that guy back. And then we're going to do the other side. Here I'm just going to have my hand ready for this one. Okay. And then we're going to do the top ones. All right, guys, so now we're ready to pull the radio out. What you're gonna do is you're gonna lift up and forward and let it drop down a little and then slide it through the opening. Now, something I do want to show you are the plugs in the back. So plugs back here, multiple plugs back here, and this one and this one you don't need to unplug. You only need to unplug that one, and then there's one further in. My hand's kind of covering it. That one that you're gonna unplug next, and that'll allow you to move the radio out a little bit more than before. So now you see it drop down some, and now you have your connectors for your radio, and these have tabs at the top. Sometimes they're hard to get off, so there goes one. Go for the other one, so and the other. And last, you want your antenna. There we go. That was step one